Alright guys, how's it going? Hopefully you're having an excellent day. Many of you have been asking my opinions of Vertigo. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it competitively viable? What things would you like to see tweaked? What things would you like to see altered? And of course, whenever a new map or a different iteration of a map is released, I typically go through it and give you guys my opinion. So you've been asking about this a lot. Apologies for being a bit late to this. Obviously the map was released a few days ago now. But I've been very busy, and I've been trying to go over this map quite a bit to give it its fair shine. I don't want to make any snap decisions or judgments, because first off, I thought the map was very one-dimensional. I'm realizing there's a bit more intricacy to it than I originally thought, but I'm still not completely sold on this. I think Vertigo overall is quite meh. I don't think it's going to be capturing the competitive scene by storm. I don't think a lot of teams are going to be incorporating this into their map pool. I feel like it could, unfortunately, just fall into the same kind of position as a nuke, where it was getting insta-banned by many, many teams, and very few teams adopted it. It was almost like a gimmicky pick to try and dethrone one of the top teams by taking them out of their comfort zone. This may actually be good news for nuke enthusiasts. Maybe this coming to the map pool is going to make nuke propel forward and see more play. I'm not sure. That's speculation. That's yet to be seen. We haven't seen this map played at the top competitive level yet. So everything I'm saying is purely my opinion, purely speculation on how I think things are going to come down. So first off, I'm going to assume that you've all seen Vertigo at this stage. I'm going to assume that you've all breezed through it, you've all played it. So let's talk about the key points. So A-Site. My thoughts on A-Site actually are pretty damn good. I quite like the map on the A-Site. I think there are still some tweaks that should be implemented. I still don't understand why you have areas of the map that you can just straight up fall off to your death. For me, that's unbelievable. I don't understand that whatsoever. I know some people make a counter argument of, well, if you fall off, you deserve to die. But if there's flashbangs landing in and you're in a position where you kind of lose yourself in amongst all of it, you should never be able to fall off the map and die. I realize cratering to your death, if you jump out of like window or whatever, let's say in Mirage side, if you're playing too aggressive and you decide to push way too far out and you crater, then fair enough, like that's on you, that's a mistake. But the fact that you can go from 100 to 0 is so stupid, especially when you have these fences already deployed. Why aren't these all the way across? I don't understand this at all. Put these fences all the way across the map. Do not allow anyone to fall off. Please fix that, Valve. That really does need to not be in this game. Secondly, I don't understand the point of this thing. I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like scaffolding, but it's going to get confusing because there's another scaffolding area over here. Like, what even is this? But please, explain to me the purpose of this from a CT's perspective. Like, dude, it's horrible. It's crap. I get it from a T spot. You can actually just peek up here and have a direct angle into the doorway. It helps the terrorists, but it doesn't help the CTs at all. I don't understand this position whatsoever. I'd much rather they just took the top part off and left the bricks at the bottom to give another sort of box for the counter-terrorists to play on. Give a little bit more elevation, more angles for T's to have to be cognizant of. Because on this side of scaffolding, you have the ability to come around this corner. Now, if you just had these bricks, it could be quite an interesting prospect. You're like checking sandbags, you're checking bricks, you're checking up here. You also have to be very wary of getting spammed down from the upper ramp area. So I just don't get this at all. I'd like to see that removed. I don't think it adds anything to the map. The scaffolding is really cool. I like that a lot. I like the idea also of having both sides very capable of spraying each other down. It makes for a cool game of sort of cat and mouse when it comes to the A-site of the map. There's plenty of angles here. I like the terrorists can go for a cheeky plant at the corner and be pretty safe to do so if there's smokes and flashes alongside them. I like that there's options there. So I think overall A is actually a pretty cool side of the map. I'm completely on board with this A side. Again, couple tweaks and it could be something truly special. But the rest of the map to me is really lackluster. This is where the ticks become crosses as far as I'm concerned. So here is I'm not sure what we're going to end up calling this, like mid connector core. I'm not sure. It's kind of like a core part of the map because both teams are going to be jockeying for position. I just don't like the idea of this elevator shaft. I get it. It's been in Vertigo for quite some time. I get that it's a fast rotation spot, but it just seems so cheap. It just seems so gimmicky to me. I wish there was another way that it could be implemented. It does, of course, add a very fast rotation, and it enforces the terrorists into a spot where they have to play somebody in this mid area. You cannot give the elevator shaft up, especially if you're going A, because it's so easy for the CTs to just come down. Oh, Jesus, if I've just failed that. As you just spotted there, by the way, you need to hit onto this side of it. Otherwise, you'll take damage. I took 13 damage there. You'll make noise regardless. But you can see if the CT can get around the back, it's going to be curtains for this T side aggression. It's going to be so easy for the CTs to pounce on that. So I think you always have to play a T over here, whichever side of the map you're going. But it just seems pretty crappy to me. I'm not really on board with it. Additionally, mid is so claustrophobic. It's so close-knit and high pressure for the terrorists. Crossfire's established all over the place, plenty of boxes to play with, but additionally, look how vulnerable you are walking out here. If there's a boost into window, you get shot in the back. If you're moving across here, you have to watch out for the door, and as you can see, you can blow up this door, similar to how Nuke plays with Squeaky. You can actually just blow that door up so you can get extra angles out for the CTs. And even if you get towards this spot, this T-junction, you have plenty of angles right side, and then there's a CT spawn over on the left side, and you can also boost up to here. I'm pretty sure you can boost up onto those back slats as well. Like, there's just so much that terrorists have to be watchful for, and this is why I think the map, at its root core, is poor for me. The chances of having sick epic clutches, I actually think are really low on this map. So let's have a look at maps like Cache or Mirage. Or Dust 2, maps that have this expansive mid area where you can rotate, or even overpass with its connector. Because a lot of the rotation spots are actually quite cordoned off, and it's not that easy to get the drop onto the T. Like, let's say that the T's in a 1v3 or something, and wants to try and get round the middle and sort of play some mind games and rotate. Look how vulnerable he is to being shot from multiple angles that you can't possibly watch all at the same time. It's going to be so hard to actually clutch in this map. From a T's point of view, or even a CT's point of view. It's hard to make mind games happen. There's not too many intricate details of this map that you can really exploit to your benefit. And so for that reason, the map kind of just seems quite plain and dull to me. I think it's too one note. It's just too confined to the gimmick of verticality. There's not much else that it really offers me. And that's one of the main reasons I think this map is not really going to be elected by many of the top teams. There's not much of a chance to express yourself. I think this map kind of forces the T's into very aggressive pushes. And so it's quite one string. Are we going to rush A or B, or are we going to push through mid? Like, those are pretty much the options, because once the game slows down, there's not much else to really do. I like that you have this sort of angle for flashes through mids, as you can see there. It's pretty cool. Obviously, the same can be done on reverse. I don't think that's actually going to land, but you can definitely line that up if you want to play aggressively from a CT perspective. I think B site is just garbage, though. You know, I was talking about how good I thought A was, and with some tweaks it could be even better. B, as far as I'm concerned, is just complete toilet. First off, the narrow stature of these staircases is so bad for the T's. Like, you push up and it's so one-dimensional. There's no other way to get up here. If you're going to rush, let's look at eco rounds or something, where typically the T's are going to stack together and they're just going to try and bomb up here as fast as they can. Maybe they'll get a smoke deployed front of the site. Maybe they'll get a smoke deployed in window as well. Maybe even one on the left side. Try and make some set play into fruition. First off, you can't even plant the bomb out here in the open like you can on A. You actually have to go deeper into the site, which is where all of these angles come into play. Like, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's so easy for the CTs to get the drop on you, especially if you're just trying to rush into the site and get a plant down. There's not many safe plant spots on B. And again, when you're dwindling down to the last few seconds, I feel like this map really starves many players from clutching. It starves them from getting those last second, like, crazy moment plays. Personally, that's just my take on it, though. So I'd like to see this staircase extended maybe to this point going up. So instead of having, I think you can probably fit like 2 players up here without bumping into each other. Maybe you can get 3 players. Also, I'd like to see maybe a wall implemented on this side, like a headshot wall. Because right now, the CTs can actually boost up here and have a ridiculous angle down to that side. And I'm pretty sure with that boost, they can also see over these boxes. So, I mean, this boost spot is just going to be absolutely obscene. And you can pretty much wreck the terrorists before they're even halfway up the staircase. So, I would like to see some kind of a headshot wall put in place. It's going to give the terrorists a little bit more wiggle room. But also on retakes, it's going to make it a little bit more interesting as well, where players are actually going to have to push their way out rather than just hover over the side. Maybe extend where you can plant the bomb further up until like this area, where retake spots from window are going to be a possibility, where it's going to be easier for the terrorists to actually hold on to the site, because again, you go for that plant and you pull back, you can't really go down the staircase. It's going to be a rough one going down the staircase, because one smoke that's deployed like on this side of the wall, and it's pretty much GG. Like, there's not much you can do about that. So yeah, B for me is a massive meh. The mid sort of core area is a meh. I think A is great. Definitely the highlight of this map as far as I'm concerned. And the other thing I want to talk about as well, and this is what I was wrong about at the start, and this is why I wanted to go through the map with a bit more of a finer tooth comb, is I thought the only way that you could do set plays on this site was from like this area, which obviously is very susceptible to just getting nade spammed or Molotov very, very easily. And that's another reason why the narrow nature of these stairs are absolute garbage, because it's going to be so easy for the CTs just to be like, okay, yeah, there's a rush coming, let's just throw this Molotov. I mean, it just takes zero skill to land that Molotov, and look, it's just blocked off the entire stairway. And as the T's are pushing up, do they realistically want to throw a smoke down here? So it wrecks their angle of aggression even more? Of course not. Like, the narrow nature of these stairs are absolute garbage. But I was wrong about that. You can also, through the power of these skyboxes, throw smokes, throw set plays from T-spawn. And this is another reason why I think this is going to be quite an aggressive map for the T's, because they can pretty much set up plays from where they come into the map. They literally spawn right here, and they can throw these smokes. Now, I haven't practiced any of these smokes. They're probably going to be completely off. Wow, I just completely failed that. But you have smokes like this. It's probably going to be wrong. Yeah, it's too deep. But you get the point. The idea is that it would land approximately here. I'm sure there's going to be some keen beans that find smokes that land on window. And then maybe smoke that lands around here somewhere. So you can at least get up close to the CTs. You can at least threaten them. But again, this is where the lack of a plant spot out here is an issue, because even with these smokes, you still have to push through them. You still have to play aggressive through and get up close to the CTs where all these angles are. It's madness. This B site needs serious work. Really badly needs work, guys. But you can also throw set plays from spawn to the A side. Again, I haven't practiced these smokes. This is probably completely off, but I'm going to assume it's... Jesus Christ, Vince. Really? Really, dude? But you can throw smokes. That's going to land maybe around ramp somewhere. Okay, that was too high. But again, you get the point. Once you've practiced these and you've got them down, you can start to land smokes around here. Maybe smoke early off, like towards the top side of the ramp, just to mess with the sandbags. Maybe you can even get a smoke lined up to land around here on the site, you know, to like really lock off the CTs from one another and isolate these two players out in the open from the rest of their squad. So that's a really cool element to the map, I will say, that you can set up plays from T-spawn and get up there fairly quickly because of how small the map is, because it's so built around verticality. You can make the most of those smokes. I mean, you can throw... Let's just show you, for example, without going into no clip. So, obviously, you'd have 2 or 3 players would push ahead of the guy smoking, but the guy smoking himself... Let's run through this. So, by the time that smoke lands, I'm going to be on the staircase. So, I mean, I'm already here, well, as the smoke's pluming. You could very easily get a set play in effect. If anything, I got there too quick. So... And again, I know it's not a correct smoke, but you get my point. Like, very explosive, fast play is going to be possible from the terrorists, and it could be entertaining to watch. So I'm very curious to see what the future holds for Vertigo. I personally think that it's going to be resigned into being banned pretty much 99% of the time, but I could be proven wrong. Maybe the pros are going to adopt this map and see the potential in it and the enjoyment. But as I've already said a few times, I think A site is the shining light of Vertigo. A couple tweaks that would be spot on. but the rest of the map for me is pretty poor. And I think the nature of how the map plays is going to stymie things like clutches from coming into effect as often, especially through mid, especially the fact that you can't silent drop down onto through the elevator shaft. I'm pretty sure even if you hit this correctly, you still can't silent drop. Yeah, you're still making noise because you're hitting this. So I think that some changes would need to be implemented to allow people to express themselves and potentially clutch more often. I think this is going to be one of those maps where if a team loses 2 or 3 players right off the bat, it's almost going to be impossible to clutch it out because of the nature of how the map is made. And that could mean saves come into play. That could make it actually kind of boring on retakes. Anyway, there's my 2 cents. What do you guys think about it? Let's start a discussion, a debate, a conversation in chat. If there's anything that I've missed that you'd like me to see or think about, then by all means comment below. Do you agree or disagree with my opinions on the map? Do you think this maybe is going to be the next big thing? Do you think this is going to be a map that takes over and most of the pros are going to be playing? Maybe I'm completely and entirely wrong. Have your say below. And until the next video, guys, peace and take care of yourselves. See you later.